After 15 years of debate and discussion, managed pressure drilling is steadily being recognized as a major enhancement in drilling operations. This virtual panel discussion will examine whether MPD's time has finally come. Hi, I'm Mike Killalea with IADC and drillingcontractor.org. Welcome to our panel titled Managed Pressure Drilling. Tomorrow's drilling standard is here today. I'm joined by an excellent panel, and I want to thank ABS for its sponsorship of this panel discussion. We are going to talk about whether or not MPD is in fact the new standard for drilling. Our three panelists today are Christopher Scarborough. He's Senior Wells Engineer for Well Control and MPD for BP's Global Well Organization. Neil Gooding, MPD Well Control Technical Superintendent for Seadrill. And finally, Joseph Russo is Director, Global Offshore for ABS. Please refer to their complete bios on the website. Welcome, gentlemen. Joe, let's start with you. And Chris and Neil, feel free to jump in with your perspectives as well. What is MPD, Joe, and how does it really differ from conventional drilling?
MPD, or managed pressure drilling, it's something that we've basically agreed on a definition amongst the drilling community and through the IADC committees as well. It's I'll quote here, an adaptive drilling process used to precisely control the annular pressure profile throughout the wellbore. And that's based on knowledge of the pressure profile down the hole. And what that means is it's an approach to drill wells using more than just mud weight. You can achieve the desired wellbore pressure profile in a number of ways. It's not necessarily underbalanced drilling, it's just a control of the pressure, and it's using more factors than mud weight.
Well, how does MPD, managed pressure drilling, differ from underbalanced drilling? I've heard a lot of confusion on that point.
In the managed pressure drilling situation, you can maintain the well in an overbalanced condition. It just so happens that you're not using mud to be your only control source down the well.
So even though mud weight during MPD could fall below pore pressure, that doesn't make it underbalanced. Is that right, Chris?
No, the wellbore is maintained in an overbalanced condition, or is intended to be maintained overbalanced through the use of various factors, including surface back pressure, mud weight, friction loss, and the other parameters we have control of.
Okay, and tell us why that's important.
The reason maintaining an overbalanced condition is important is when we do encounter hydrocarbon sections, hydrocarbon-bearing hole sections, we don't allow those to flow into the wellbore while we're drilling. We're actually monitoring the well closely, looking for that, and we will take the appropriate measures if an influx is noticed.
That could make for an uncomfortable situation, to put it mildly, right?
Of course.
So this panel is going to focus on offshore applications, but I think it's important to point out that the use of rotating control devices and some other MPD techniques actually began on land. And there's some more interest in performing MPD on land wells. Does anybody want to kind of make a mention of that?
Well, I mean, land wells face a lot of the same challenges that you'll get offshore when you are talking strictly about the properties of the hole. You know, if it's the given location, the pressure gradients you have, what kind of drilling depth you're going to. But one thing that tends to distinguish onshore drilling is you're drilling a lot of holes closely spaced. And so that means that the drilling productivity is something that you want to very much have a handle on. And so if you can avoid a lot of time spent running casing strings, that sort of thing, then you probably wind up with a more efficient program.
Okay, makes sense. So also managed pressure drilling it's not a monolithic one-size-fits-all kind of technology. It's not just one thing. There's various types of it. Can you kind of describe for our listeners some of the different types of MPD?
Sure, we've got them enumerated in our guidance for managed pressure drilling. There's several types that we would deal with. There's the constant bottom hole pressure or surface back pressure, and that's where you're looking at a target pressure at a selected point in the wellbore and you're trying to maintain that through all of the operations. There's dual gradient drilling, which creates multiple pressure gradients by using columns of salt water rather than just mud. And then the controlled mud level puts a special pumping device onto the riser to vary the level of fluid in the drilling riser. So that's a subset of dual gradient drilling, actually. And then finally, mud cap drilling is a significant one. It's maintaining a mud level in the annulus, and it can be either a floating mud cap or a pressurized mud cap. But basically, those are the principal types we're dealing with: the constant bottom hole pressure, dual gradient, controlled mud level, and mud cap.
Okay. And through IDC, we've done a lot with all of these types through our managed pressure drilling committee, including dual gradient and all the rest. And I know that several of you have been active in that group, and we appreciate it. The prevalence of MPD seems definitely to be increasing offshore, even as we come out of this terrible recession we had in 2014, 15, 16. God, is it over yet, guys? I don't know, What's the explanation for that?
Well, I mean, the recession itself was a driver in terms of needing to do things more efficiently and to really step back and take a look at what technologies are available to us to be able to drill some of these holes. There's a risk and cost aspect to all of this, of course. You've got holes with narrow pressure margins. Some of them, if you had to put down the amount of casing and liners that would be required to go past certain zones, it would just be completely uneconomical, both time-wise and cost-wise, and even reaching total depth with the decreasing size of the casings.
I mean, on a drilling perspective, the downturn, we looked at MPD and installations of MPD to make our rigs more marketable, to get the contracts.
Okay.
While the rigs were getting stacked, we done it to gain the work.
And I think through MPD, am I correct in saying you have a lot of efficiency and gains and cost savings through it?
You get both
Yeah.
safety and efficiency improvements on the rig. And in my mind, equipping a rig with MPD, especially a permanent installation, is really around modernizing the fleet that we're using to drill these wells.
Mhm.
Yeah. I think with the more wells or Seadrill drills, we'll learn more about the actual efficiency and the savings we can gain and our clients can gain from it.
And it's interesting, both of you, Chris and Neil, are MPD / well control or well control / MPD.
Yeah.
So the two, which implies to me that the use of managed pressure drilling and safety through well control must go hand in hand. Is that a fair statement?
They absolutely do.
Absolutely,
The
yeah.
mechanics between what you're doing in a well control situation with the BOP closed and what you're doing in an MPD situation with the rotating head on it are very, very similar.
Mhm.
The mechanics are all the same. It's just in one case, the well control case, you have a kick in the hole.
Yeah.
And in an MPD case, you're maintaining an overbalanced situation, but it is a pressurized system.
I mean, we talk about well control, but with MPD, we're actually controlling the well
Yes.
more than in a situation where we're dealing with an emergency.
Correct.
And so what is the sensitivity in an MPD situation to kicks versus a conventional system?
Well, up to a barrel, within a barrel, you can sense that and the system can respond to it. Depending on who you speak to, some they
Yeah.
say even lower, but
Compared to how much?
conventionally, 4, 5, 6 barrels.
Yeah. So orders of magnitude.
Oh,
almost
for
less,
sure.
yeah.
So, I mean, the biggest difference, I would say, is in conventional drilling, we're kind of monitoring a barrel in versus barrel out.
Correct, yeah.
And in MPD, we're looking at each gallon in versus each gallon out.
Yeah.
It's-
Okay. So we're kind of touching on this already, Chris, but as an operator, can you expand for us on efficiency gains and well control advantages that you've experienced?
Sure, I mean, it's easy to see that during MPD, everything you do takes a little bit longer. The trip takes a little longer, running riser takes a little bit longer, but it's when you do not have to deal with the well challenges that MPD helps us to manage and mitigate that you end up having these efficiency gains, which reduces your overall well time, which reduces risk and exposure. And it's also, because you do have a closed system, a more closely monitored well, you have a safer condition for the personnel on the rig and for the environment.
Okay. With MPD too, to a large extent, it's initially at least, it's all about the rig, right? About the equipment. So, and integrating MPD equipment onto rigs has a lot of different names. We're calling it MPD capable for the point of this discussion. But so, Neil, what does MPD capable mean to Seadrill? And can you contrast some cost value and quality value of using integrated MPD equipment versus bringing the equipment on for a single job or such?
Yeah, I mean, MPD capable to Seadrill is more than just installing steel on the rig, pipe work, etc. To us, it's having a maintenance system, having rig procedures, having our crew gone through training onshore, immersive training with our clients. That's MPD capable, not just having steel just sat there ready. So for value for us is the fact that we have full ownership of our equipment. So we don't have a third party come on board. We install it, we do a section, we rig it down and we send it in. We have full ownership. So again, the maintenance, we know our equipment. We've gone through class. We've worked very closely with ABS on all our installations. We've got the notations. So yeah, again, it's just the ownership and knowing our system and making sure it's fit for use.
So we have also an excellent case history of Seadrill installing some MPD equipment. And Neil, do you want to walk us through that? We have a video that we're going to show.
Yeah, 3C Metal, courtesy of 3C Metal, they've gave us a short video of the West Capricorn installation. We start off with point cloud data, which 3C will laser scan the whole rig and put it together like this. So this is us making sure that all fits on the rig, and we can do clash checks with cranes and associated equipment. So this is us now modelling the flow spool lines in the moon pool. This will be checked with minimum bend radiuses. This is us modelled it into the moon pool, and again, this is it installed in the moon pool. So the actual colour coding is determining what the lines are. So this is the modules. You can see that they're basically designed. So there's 4 modules. They're all in pre-installed onshore, FAT completed, and it allows for a shorter installation period. This is our recent completed system on the West Capricorn.
Joe, what would ABS add?
There's been a lot of questions directed to us and discussions in industry about what the MPD capable really means and how much of the scope of work has to be done. Is it just a matter of a few pipes, or is it a full integrated system? And the way we treat that is that you're putting an MPD system on a vessel, so you need to go through all of the risk assessments and designs that are associated with that. If you are not putting the full unit on the vessel, then it's considered MPD capable. But we're not saying that just any start and any installation of equipment is MPD capable. It has to be part of a designed and reviewed system that is meant and fully documented to be an MPD compliant system.
Okay. Neil, we talked a lot about equipment. You briefly touched on some people, but I think Seadrill is taking MPD capable to a new level through training and personnel. Can you tell us about what y'all are doing?
Well, the project we just talked there about, we sent all our crew to the training facility. We put them through the paces at the immersive training centre. So they go on to the rig. They have some training and background. We also have on board our own MPD supervisors who oversee the operation. But our drillers, our drillers are in full control of the MPD, where there's other systems where, like we touched on, the third party comes on board. Mm-hmm. All our systems are run solely by the driller and the screen right beside him. So we are now back in control of the well, where before there was a third party running the software. Our design, I feel we've taken it to the next level. We've spent a lot of time looking at the design of how it's to be installed, flow rate, friction losses, pressure protection philosophy. We've put PRVs, PCVs into the system. And that's all controlled by the driller, so he can see all that at the touch of the fingertips. So.
Okay, so this is for everyone. What aspects would you all think are the most significant, or have the most significant impact on reducing costs?
From my perspective, and I truly believe we haven't seen these benefits yet,
No.
but it's going to be the long-term well life.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's having
Really?
drilled a better well, gotten a better cement job. I believe we're going to see higher production, and we're going to see less maintenance and repair necessary on these wells throughout its life. And I think that's where the big cost savings is going to be. Though we are seeing cost savings just on the drilling of the wells. You know, we've drilled 3 wells with this rig. We were using the same technology back in 2010 offshore Egypt drilling HPHT gas wells. And on all of our wells, we saw a cost benefit through using MPD, whether it was just enhancing, making it easier to drill the well, or enabling, which is the well could not be drilled without this technology.
And that also, with savings for the oil companies, they make savings on one well. That now allows them to drill maybe another well because the funding is there. So
Okay.
the drilling...
That's a good benefit for a drilling contractor.
Absolutely. I mean, we want more wells as a drilling contractor, so if we can help make a well more efficient and they come early on a curve, that means there's some funding left maybe for another well.
I think that some of the savings that you can look forward to is when this becomes just a more normal standard practice on board some of these units, and we get more experience with doing it, and the crews are all comfortable using the equipment and that sort of thing. So it becomes a way that things are done rather than a sort of special case. And I think that has potential benefits in terms of crew training and operations and safety as well.
Regularize it. I hate to use the term
Yeah,
commoditize it. Regularize it as a practice
If it
rather than a
becomes
special deal.
becomes the normal.
Yeah, the norm. Okay. Chris, Joe, what do you see as the limitations of MPD where we are today?
So I would say some of the limitations, really, like every tool we have that we use in our industry to drill wells, there is no universal tool that makes everything better. MPD is no different. But MPD does address a lot of the drilling challenges that result in non-productive time on our wells. And by addressing these challenges, either we prevent them or we at least mitigate them to an extent where the MPT is very short or there's no MPT at all.
Okay.
And I think certainly in these times when we're not building drilling rigs, integrating all of these systems into the fleet that's out there, it faces space limitations, and there is a familiarization and training that has to take place. So I wouldn't necessarily call that a limitation, but it's something that has to be thought about ahead of time to make sure that it's all prepared. You saw in the video the layout planning that you have to do and the prefabrication of modules and everything. So that's all part of it, I think.
Okay. So given the state of MPD technology today, what potential technical breakthroughs are needed to take it to the next level? In other words, what will be the industry's future needs with managed pressure drilling?
Well, not so much technology with software and equipment, but just on the drilling contractor side, we're looking at 20K rigs. So weights, maybe even tensile strength of IRJ, riser joints and stuff like that. The technology, software, I don't see, right now I don't see any limitations on that side, but the industry's changing where we're tendering for deeper wells, so that could be an issue.
I guess what I see is for technological breakthrough, there are so many different tools we have out there. We kind of use them in silos. MPD is a tool, wire drill pipe's a tool.
Yep.
We have automation
Great
that can
point.
trip the pipe for us.
Yep.
We have automation that can ramp our pumps up and down. When we start using all these various pieces of automation together, we'll end up having a well that's more standard as far as estimating how long it's going to take us to drill, how well the well will be put together. So we'll have a more robust well that will be able to determine AFEs closer, and it'll really make a difference in the data we're getting.
Yeah, I think that's a very good point, Chris. Integration as in the system talking to the other systems on the vessel there's a good point. Yeah.
That's the holy grail.
Yeah, that
right?
is.
We love our silos and we drillers, right? Yeah. Joe, what were you going to add?
I mean, the integration was what I was going to mention as well, so I'm glad Neil used the same word. I mean, we've got different ways of doing this depending on different equipment vendors, different drilling contractors, and that sort of thing. So really, whatever new technology we wind up with, it has to be evaluated in the same type of process, understanding what the interfaces are with other systems, and making sure that we wind up with a safe system and one that can effectively drill.
The fact is, the wells we're drilling are not getting any easier.
No.
As a matter of fact, we're going for horizons that are deeper, higher pressure, and to get there we have to pass through all these zones that we've already produced. And so it's getting tougher to get there. And I think MPD is a great tool that's going to help us kind of step up to that challenge.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen. Well, that's the truth. The low-hanging fruit is pretty much all picked off. So that's about all we have time for today. I want to again thank ABS for sponsoring this virtual panel discussion. And thanks also, of course, to our panelists, Joe Rousseau, Chris Scarborough, and Neil Gooding. Thank you, gentlemen, for sharing your time and insights very much. And also thanks to you, our audience. If you want more on managed pressure drilling, be sure to check out iadc.org/events, and you can get information about our 2-day IADC SPE Managed Pressure and Underbalance Drilling Conference that'll be held in Amsterdam on 9-10 April, and you can see the link right here on the screen. Also, if you have questions for the panel, please go to the website and post those, and our great panel here will put together some answers for you, and we'll post them out and let you know when we've got a PDF for you to look at. Once again, thanks to everybody for participating. I'm Mike Killia. Thanks again and goodbye.